Hey everyone, this is the Wounded Womb, Mind of Lilith, and today I'm going to share my thoughts about the Love and Marriage Huntsville Reunion Part 1. I was hesitant to watch the episode because I really did not want to be bombarded by the negative emotions that this cast elicits inside of me. I did not want to be contaminated with whatever energy is being projected from this show. So I took some time away. I was reading the comments and listening to other people's commentary because I really did not feel comfortable. I just have a level of anxiety when I watch this show. As I always say, I'm not going to be doing a full episode recap as there are plenty of other YouTubers who do an excellent job of this. Instead, I'm going to focus on specific components of the episode that I feel like could be teachable moments for myself and members of the audience. So I'm going to start off with this. At the end of the episode, I think Carlos asked Martell if he had met Arion first, would he have still married Melody? What Carlos should have asked, since he's comparing the two women and fostering more competition between them, which will give Martell the ammunition to fuck with Melody more, what he should have asked was, if you met Melody and Arion at the same time, would you still have married Melody? And the answer would be yes. No matter what Martell says, the answer would still be yes. And let me illustrate to you what would have happened. So Martell meets Arion around the same time, maybe a couple weeks apart. Martell is in his late 20s. Melody and Arion are in their early 20s. Okay, I'm going to make them all the same age because Arion would be like 17 years old, I think, if Martell waited. So I'll put them at the same age. Melody and Arion are at 25 years old, and Martell is about 28, 29 years old. Okay, let's speak hypothetically here. What would have happened was Martell would have met Melody and Arion the same time. What he would have done was date them both at the same time. He would have kept them separate from each other. Of course, they wouldn't know about each other because they have totally different circles, right? They're not even in the same social circle, okay? Melody and Ariel would have been on different sides of the town. They would have had separate lives, and Martell would have been dating them both. 9 months into this situation, Melody would have found out that Martell was cheating with Arion. And in Melody fashion, she would have been like, you know what? I'm out. I'm not doing this. I'm not competing with anybody. You want to be with her? I got too much stuff going on. I'm 20-something years old. I ain't got no kids. I'm working on my career. You can do you, sir. You can do you. That's okay. Melody would leave. Martell would give Melody 3 days of space, right? And in those 3 days, he would work on his relationship with Arion and make it closer. In those 3 days, what he's doing in this instance is building up his bank balance with Arion so that when he does go back to Melody in a couple of days, Arion won't think anything about it because 1, she still doesn't know anything about Melody. And 2, Martell has spent enough time with her over the next 3 days that she won't feel any type of way of getting some space or having space, right? So, 3 days later. Now, 3 days is enough time for Melody to miss Martell, but not enough time for her to totally move on from him. So he'll call her 3 days later crying. Oh my God, Melody, I'm sorry. I miss you. I wasn't thinking right. You know, I met this girl first and then I met you and then I didn't know what to do, but I want to be with you. Can we meet up? Martell will meet up with Melody. Martell will whip out an engagement ring and ask Melody to marry him. Melody, still in love with him, will feel vindicated, right? And like Martell is trustworthy, and then she'll say, yes, of course I'll marry you. Oh my God. Okay, So Martell and Melody are now engaged. On his way back from Melody's house, because he spent a couple of days with her, because if you remember, he has a bank balance with Arion, right? 3 days. Okay. So on his way from Melody's house, Martell calls Arion and says to her, now I'm still speaking hypothetically, but this is how it would play out, right? Martell says to Arion, yo, somebody in my family died. I need some time. I need a month to get it together. I need some time to get my head straight. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to check in on you, but I just need some space. If something tragic happened, I'm sorry. And Arion asks, well, can I do anything for you? And Martell's like, no, it's all right. I'm going to handle this on my own. I got you. Now, mind you, Martell still has the bank balance because he spent 3 days with Arion all day, every day. So Arion thinks that the relationship is going to the next level. Okay? So she gives him his 30-day space. During that 30-day period, Martell is love bombing Melody. He would be buying her gifts every day, going on, short vacations over the weekend, spending a lot of money on her, sending her flowers to her office, love bombing her for 30 days to build up his bank balance for when he wants to go back to to Arion. He'll be building up his bank balance with Melody, showering her with gifts, not contacting the mistress because remember, he asked for 30 days, right? And spending all of his time with Melody to get her trust back. And she's thinking, wow, he's really changed. He's never spent this much time with me anymore. So he must really be ready to move forward. And she's excited. Yay. Okay. 30 days passed. Martell calls Arion. I missed you so much. I want to see you again. Can I see you? Mind you, Martell now has a big bank balance with Melody. And Melody feels more secure in their relationship because Martell has proposed marriage to her and she's engaged. Okay. So Melody is thinking forward. She forgot about the cheating. Everybody makes mistakes. They're young. It's okay. So now that Martell has a big bank balance with Melody, he goes back to Arion after 30 days and asks to see her. I miss you. Let's go out to dinner and a movie and we can have fun and so on and so forth. So Martell spends the next couple of days love bombing Arion. Not as much time as with Melody because that's not who he really wants to be with, but he wants to secure his position in her life and not give her enough space to move on to somebody else. So in this love bombing phase, he's building up his bank balance with Arion again. And this goes on for another year, right? It is now the week before Martell and Melody's wedding, okay? Because Melody is spending so much time planning the wedding and with the wedding planner and everything else, she doesn't really have time to monitor what Martell is doing. And she's okay because they're about to get married. Yay! And he hasn't shown any other signs that he's been still cheating because he's learned how to cheat smarter, right? And he got a second phone. So he has 2 phones now and he knows how to cheat smarter. He knows how to make sure that he balances his time enough so that one woman doesn't feel neglected, right? Both of them feel like they're being satisfied at the same time. And he's getting what he wants. Constant attention and validation. Constant. When Melody doesn't pick up the phone, he calls Arion. When Arion doesn't pick up the phone, he calls Melody. Back and forth, okay? So this goes on for about a year. A week before the wedding, Martell begins to spend a bunch of time with Arion, right? He'll maybe have a daycation with her, like go boating or have a picnic or go somewhere where he can come back within a couple hours, but it's somewhere different from where they usually go, like a helicopter ride, right? He takes her on the helicopter ride because he can't be gone for 24 hours. He still has a fiance he has to check in on. So they go on a helicopter ride while Melody's planning this wedding. They spend a bunch of time together. Now, 3 days before the wedding, Martell starts an argument with Arion. Just random argument, as an excuse to make some distance between them before the wedding so that she doesn't get suspicious as to why he's not talking to her. They have some argument about nonsense. And she's still, feeling kind of good about their little helicopter ride, right? Because she's never done that before. And it's like, wow, our relationship is getting more serious. He's never done this for me before. Okay. Mind you, he's still planning on getting married to Melody. So they have a big argument 3 days before the wedding event. And Martell says he needs some space. Okay? The day of the wedding is here. Melody's excited. Martell's excited. Everybody's excited. Right? But Martell sneaks out back to the backyard or to a utility closet or to a spare bedroom. Depends on where they are. And he calls Arion. He calls Arion and asks, "Can I talk to you for a second? I have something important to tell you." "Sure, what is it, Martell?" "I don't know how to say this, but I'm getting married today." "What do you mean you're getting married today? I've been dating you for 2 years. What are you talking about? I was just with you last week." I know. I just didn't know how to tell you. I fell for somebody else. But, you deserve somebody better. I can't do for you what another man can. You deserve somebody better than me. Okay? I'm sorry. I love you. I just didn't know how to tell you because I wanted to still be with you because I love you. Okay? I'm sorry. He's going to cry. Hoo. Boo hoo. Right? "Martell, I can't believe you did this. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. He hangs up the phone and proceeds to get married to Melody. 6 months later, Martell calls Arion on the phone. "Yo, this relationship ain't working out right. She's not who I thought she was. She doesn't do this the way you do it. She doesn't do that the way you do it. I didn't know she was like this. I made a mistake. I want to be back with you. I'm going to get separated. I can't do this. I can't be without you. I miss you. I think about you every day, all of the time." AKA, he starts to hoover Arion. Okay? He's now hoovering Arion. Arion feels vindicated. Like, wow, he wants me over somebody else. He made a mistake. And of course, she still loves him because Martell didn't give her any closure. Because he didn't want to give her closure because he didn't really want her to move on. Okay? So, Martell begins to have an affair with Arion under the guise of, "I can't stand Melody. She's not who I thought she was. She kind of tricked me into marriage. Blah, 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 blah." Right? And now, Arion is brought into the relationship as a third party. Melody doesn't know that she's there now. Now, Arion knows, but now Melody doesn't know. Okay? So that's how the relationship would have played out. And Arion would have been a mistress for 5 years. Still. So no matter how many different types of permutations people try to come up with to say, well, if he had known her first, he would have made a different choice. No. People meet each other by destiny, right? There is no coincidence in our relationships. Martell and Melody were meant to get married to each other. They were supposed to get married to each other, which is why they were able to build so much so quickly. Okay? If Arion were in the picture earlier, he still would have dated both of them and still would have ended up with Melody. And Arion would have still been a mistress for several years, asking why didn't you leave your wife yet? What happened? I thought you said this. Melody has 1, 2, 3 babies, 4 babies. And the mistress is like, yo, hold up. Why? What's going on here? You keep getting this girl pregnant. You say you wanted to separate. It's 2 years in. You told me at 6 months you were tired of her. Why am I still waiting 2 years later? That's what would have happened. So no matter how many people try to compare the two and reconfigure what's going on, there's a reason why Martell has not claimed the mistress yet. He's waiting for her to elevate herself, to upgrade herself, right? So that she would be seen as a viable partner for him. She wouldn't be seen as a downgrade, especially in that community. Martell met plenty of Arions growing up in high school. Arion is the kind of girl who you lust after in high school, but then when you go to college and you see the beautiful, ambitious, intelligent women there, Martell is the type of dude that would feel like he was missing out. So that wouldn't have happened. And this is the problem. Another point I wanted to make, because I saw a live that Arion did about Melody. Melody never makes any lives about her at all, but somehow Melody's obsessed with her. Arion said that Martell and her are single. And it dawned on me that Martell was claiming that Arion was his girlfriend when he was married. So how do you get demoted from girlfriend to single baby mama when your boyfriend gets divorced? Why do you have less leverage in the relationship now that Martell is divorced than when he was married? Wouldn't it make sense for you guys to actually grow closer together and your relationship to at least stay at the same? Because, he could have kept you as his girlfriend. It wouldn't have been a surprise. Okay, you've been had a girlfriend for 5 years. Why did you feel the need to break up with her and then convince her, oh, it's because I need to heal? Heal from what? You made it seem like Melody was the problem in your life. So why do you need to heal from somebody who was holding you back from being with this woman? Why do you feel the need to take a break, to be single and have other options? From the outside looking in, it appears that Arion's only value to Martell was as a side piece. And I'm going to explain to you why. Martell said yesterday that he's never going to cheat again. He's not a cheater, right? Martell intends on having an open relationship with Arion. She's already accepted it. And she's been groomed for this position for 6 years now. And she's like, yeah, he's single. I'm single. He can do what he wants. No, the fuck, you can't do what you want. You just had a baby from him. You ain't going nowhere. Talking like you're a boss. And you had a baby by a married man knowing that he wasn't shit. That's why he's going to look for another replacement for Melody. And then you'll be the mistress in that relationship too. I've seen it more than once. It wasn't me. Damn sure wasn't. But I've seen this happen. Long-suffering girlfriends getting picked over for somebody else that is more presentable and acceptable by society. The fact that you were demoted from being a girlfriend to being a single person with a child is a red fucking flag. The fact that Martell admitted on the show that he did not think that Melody would leave him means that he had no intention of leaving his wife. But Martell is such a pathological liar. He has compartmentalized his thoughts to the point where his right hand doesn't know what his left hand is doing. It's like two different people. When Carlos mapped out the sequence of events that led to his divorce from Melody, that led to Melody separating during the pandemic, Martell says, you make it sound that bad. Yes, it was that bad. She had a newborn baby at home. She was at home doing exactly what you said she wasn't doing. She was there with the kids every day. She was cooking. She was cleaning. She wasn't working too much. Everything was shut down. So why were you still leaving the home? Did you address that? Did you record that? And this is another point I wanted to make. There's a term called reactive abuse. A narcissist like Martell will abuse Melody so much that she does something completely out of character, like slap him in the face, right? And the purpose of the narcissist breaking you down to this point is to say, see, the reason why I did this to you is because you are a violent, abusive person. When you react to their abuse, they flip it on you and say, that's the reason why they were abusing you, because you reacted. And your reaction to their abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, is like an overcorrection. So you go all out. You do something completely out of character because your mind has been so warped and twisted. It's like you have to snap back into it, right? Almost like having a seizure. It's like you completely lose yourself because they make you crazy with the gaslighting and the flying monkeys, right? And the pathological lying and the cheating and abuse, all this stuff. What they do is they'll say something like, see, you're just as bad as I am. Like Martell said to Melody, see, you're a liar too. We're all liars. See, she cheated too. We're just as bad as each other. She didn't cheat as a reaction to my incessant abuse over 10 years. That wasn't what it was. She cheated because she has the same caliber of character that I have. Even though I was the one who cheated first for over several years. And she forgave me and took me back, and I continued to do it. So her reacting to my abuse by doing the same thing is the same thing as me initiating it in the first place. Do you understand? So the only thing Melody did wrong in that situation was lie about it. She wasn't proud of it, apparently. Obviously not. Because that's not something that's in her character. But who cares if she sucked somebody's dick in a hotel? She should have sucked 2 dicks at the same time. Okay? Nobody cares about that. We see what she's been through. I think that Melody, and I mentioned this last week, she's holding herself to this certain standard of perfection that is making it difficult for her to move on. So now Martell's going to weaponize this against her, saying, see, we're on the same team. We're on the same page. We're the same person. Do you have the recordings of you talking shit about your wife to your mistress, Martell? Do you have the recordings of you going home to your wife 15, 20 minutes after you have sex with this mistress? Do you have those recordings? If you rent an apartment from a landlord and you're a tenant, right? And there's a flood because a pipe burst in another person's apartment, another tenant's apartment, a pipe burst, and there's water leaking from your ceiling. Now the water's leaking from your ceiling. There's a big hole in the wall and there's mold on the wall. You call the landlord. Your landlord, there's a big ass hole in my wall and it's growing mold around it, right? It's growing mold around it. So can you fix this up, please? 1 month goes by. No landlord. 2 months goes by. No landlord. 3rd month. Yo, landlord, listen. I'm about to be out. I'm breaking the terms of this lease agreement. I'm moving out. And I'm going to sue you for my moving expenses and the back rent that I paid because you did not fix this problem in 3 months. Meaning, when Martell made a soul tie with somebody else, he voided his marital contract. When Martell made a soul tie with another woman and talked shit about his wife to another woman, the marital contract is broken. You have already made a relationship with somebody else while you were married. Just because you wanted to continue to use her for her business license, for her beauty, for how she made you look in public, doesn't mean that she still is obligated to adhere to the terms of the contract that you broke. Just because you still wanted to use her doesn't mean that she didn't have the right to leave and be with somebody else. Did you ask her for permission to see somebody else? Does she need to ask you for permission and wait for a divorce for her to see somebody else? Really? So you had 2.5 years to do what you want to do, but she has to wait for you to give her permission to be with another man? And you could drag it out as long as you try to with this divorce? So you can have a girlfriend for 5 and 6 years and she's supposed to wait for you to figure it out and be by herself? The difference between what Melody did and Martell did was Melody was not deceptive with Martell. Martell was openly deceptive. Narcissists operate best when they are being deceptive. They're not smarter than anybody. They're just better liars. They have no compunction about lying whatsoever. No conscience, nothing. So Melody left the home, meaning I am done with this relationship. The intention is to break apart. Whatever I do after that is none of your business. Right? I'm my own woman. We're not together anymore. Go be with her. That's okay. That's cool. I got you. You love her that much. I will bow out gracefully. And the difference between Martell and Melody is Melody did not ask for Martell to come back to her after she sucked another man's dick. Martell begged for Melody back after he made a soul tie with another woman. And that's how the show started. Melody pitched a show about construction. A week before the show aired, she found out that Martell was still cheating. That's why when you see in like the first episode or second episode, Melody is ignoring Martell and he's smiling like shit is funny, right? While his wife is devastated, he's smiling like it's a joke, like she's treating him bad for no reason with his fucking arrogant ass. He had no intention of leaving this lady. He convinced Melody to get back with him, to reconcile with him. And he used the show to do that. Melody did not do the show to destroy her marriage. That's not what was going on. She had another baby by him. And Martell is I know how narcissists work. Martell lied his ass off. He's still lying to the mistress now about why they're not together. He sees the mistress as contaminated used goods. Damaged goods. Because she and the baby that they created while he was married is a black eye on his reputation. Nobody's going to forget that. And this is why he refuses to discuss the age of that baby. He got the mistress pregnant while he was supposed to be under quarantine. So if your man is so proud of you and you're the whole fucking meal and you're so amazing, one, why did he demote you from a girlfriend to being a single mother? That's number one. Number two, why after a year of him getting a divorce is he still smashing other females when he was with you for 5 years before that? I can see if he was like Maurice, and Maurice, was single, he was enjoying his life. But once Maurice found Kimmy, he straightened up. Yo, this is who I want to be with. All them hoes can go, right? This is the one I want to be with. I thought that you were the one that Martell wanted to be with. When a man wants to be with a woman, he will shut everything down. He will cut everybody off. No questions asked. So he had 6 years to be with you and he still doesn't know what's going on right now? He's trying to recruit Melody's replacement. And Melody's replacement is going to have to be okay with him having a relationship with Arion. A sexual relationship. But she's not good for his reputation or his status. The only way Martell will claim Arion is if she gets her own show and then she elevates her status and people love her. And it's like, yeah, we did it together. Us against the world again. Look how famous we are together, right? Arion also said that Melody was intimidated by her. And Melody was not intimidated by Arion. She felt violated by Arion. Because Martell gave Arion the keys to the kingdom that she had built. Martell gave another woman of a lower caliber and class the keys to the kingdom that she busted her ass to build. That's a violation. It is not intimidation. Oh, I want to be like you. You got something that I got. What do you have? Besides a pathological liar and a narcissist for an ex-husband. What? I don't understand. This is what I am starting to figure out. In their small community of Huntsville, because I live in New York. So we're not privy to these types of dynamics because it's such a large city and there's a lot of success here and there's a larger surface area for people to find their own success, right? So there aren't many little pockets of hateration like that. In the small town of Huntsville, it seems to me that Melody was very popular and that there were a lot of women. There are a group of women who are jealous of women who they consider better than them. And I've seen this in academia and I've seen this in the workplace, but not necessarily socially. But there are a group of women who are jealous of other women and who orchestrate plans and plots to destroy another woman's marriage, to be considered on the same level as the woman that's in the upper echelon. So what they'll do is they will align themselves with a man who's married, who has status and who has this and that and the third, right? Just to be associated with the same social group and the class of the woman that they're hating on. In New York City in the 80s and 70s, and I think early 90s, there was this trend where girls were getting their faces cut. Pretty girls were getting their faces cut because the women or the girls who were jealous of them, and this happened in high schools a lot, but even younger adults went through this. The pretty girls would get their faces cut because the other girls who were jealous of them wanted to destroy their beauty. They wanted to deface them so that the pretty girl would be able to identify with the struggle, right? And so the thing is this, Arion is trying to deface Melody, and she wants Melody to look ugly so that she could compete on her level. Martell and Arion are from the same side of the tracks. The side of the tracks that would cut people in the face or kill people that they were jealous of. And that's why they bond so well and why they're so compatible. Because they're both jealous of Melody. And they both use the same means of defacing Melody as people in the gutter would use. Right? They'll cut your face. They give you $1.50, as they call it. They'll cut your face open and then say, look how ugly you are. Look how ugly I made you. Aha, you think you're all that? You're so classy? Look what you did. Look what I made you do. Look what I did to you. Now you're as dirty as I am. See, you're not better than me. There is a group of women and men who do this, especially in small towns. Because if you're in a small town and they're like the haves and the have-nots, it becomes more apparent and visible because it's a small town. In a larger city, it's not as noticeable, okay? But in the small towns, when you're like in the same bucket, the people who climb at the top of the bucket are always going to be gunned after by the people at the bottom of the bucket. And Arion is at the bottom of the bucket. She's trying to climb up Melody's back to the top of the bucket while still hating Melody and stating that Melody needs her for relevance. But Melody will have to climb down into the gutter to be with you, Arion. Melody would have to climb to the gutter to be with Arion and Martell. They're from the same side of the tracks. That's why they connect. With Arion, Martell doesn't have to pretend to be a boss. He doesn't have to pretend to be the successful man. He can be an average black man with a college degree, right? That's a teacher. But with Melody, he had to pretend to be Superman because that's her expectations for her partner. That's what she wanted out of life, right? So in order to get with her, he convinced her that he was that dude, and he wasn't that nigga. He wasn't. Arion is more so his type, but Arion can't take him to where he needs to go. So they need Melody to get there together. And that's why this show is so vile. You are seeing two vultures try to pick the carcass of a woman that they destroyed to get themselves to the top. Like a lot of gutter snipe hood people do. Okay? And I'm not just trying to insult people based on class. That's not the thing. Because I know plenty of people in the hood who are salt of the earth, who would never do this. Who would never tear down another woman or man for their own benefit. Plenty. So this is not a class issue only. It's a character issue too. The class issue comes when you are too lazy to do the work to move up socioeconomically, so you sleep with a man whose wife brought him to the upper echelon of upper middle classness. You sleep with a married man for an express ticket to success instead of building your own fucking brand and doing your own thing. That's the problem in this situation. I think I said everything I needed to say at this point. I'm going to leave it there because it's exhausting and irritating. I look forward to reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.